Sprawl and brawl, ground and pound. Get ready for an MMA showdown. Now the ultimate Octagon Insider, Sean and Tristan Ducross.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to the Ducross Brothers Sports Warriors. I'm Tristan Ducross. Along my side, as always, my partner in crime, the one and only Sean Ducross. I'm Tristan Ducross. Sorry we've been away for a little while. We have also a little bit of technical difficulty coming into play today. But happy to be back. We had to take a little bit of break. If anybody's known about what has gone on, what has transpired, you guys will understand. In the meantime, thank you for the patience. Really do appreciate it. So first up is, what we're really going to try to do here is get back in the swing of things, right, Sean?
A little bit. Gotta dust off the rust a little bit and get the ground running. I think a lot of the issues at the beginning of the show was because we're a little bit nervous getting back on the grind.
100%.
Back after it. So I think a lot of that played into a lot of the little technical issues we were having trying to get back, because I was talking to Fallon before we got on. I was like, I'm a little nervous.
Right? And she's like, you've been doing this for a while. You should just get, like, riding a bike, get right back into it and start doing it. But for us, we've been out. As you can see, I'm rocking today my Tick Dead shirt today. Today I could do anything, and really that's what it's about. So let's jump right into it, Sean. Huge issue coming out of the last UFC, and that had to do with the Diego Sanchez situation, right? Diego Sanchez, a little bit of an interesting kind of demeanor coming out of Diego Sanchez. Was that Diego Sanchez kind of took the W away from Ferreira, and the way that I thought about it is that a lot of people were like, "Oh, he quit. He took an easy way out." But the way that I was thinking about it was that I don't think this guy really quit, if you will. Because the way that it was, or the way that it happened, Sean, was the fact that he took a hard shot that kind of looked more like a glancing blow that started from his face that landed in his chest. And all the images and the videos that I've seen from this, nah, man, that was an illegal blow. Hands down, that was an illegal blow.
And it was one of those things, like, I had to watch back because it was basically he said, she said. And a lot of the issues were about which incident are they calling a foul, which one we're not calling a foul. But the one that they were calling a foul was the one where Diego Sanchez was a grounded opponent and took a knee to the dome. And said that basically this is the photo in which the issue happened and the cut occurred. And when I look back at the video of where the hit happened on Diego Sanchez, I didn't see where it hit the top of the head. I saw it more hit below and kind of glanced down and hit the chest. But was it still an illegal hit? Absolutely. And people were quick to say, oh, he wanted to find a way out. He was losing the fight, this and that. Watching that fight, Tristan, yeah, Diego Sanchez didn't look like Diego Sanchez. Diego Sanchez...
When was the last time, Sean, that you actually thought Diego looked like Diego of old?
And I get that. But in this fight, Michel Pineda did not do a whole lot of damage consistently through the fight. There's a lot of glancing blows, a lot of stuff, and even Diego Sanchez posted the videos like, watch how many blocks. And he started counting how many blocks on his Instagram. And those were the strikes in which, like, Daniel Cormier and everybody else were saying, oh, there's such a good hit and this and that. It's like, where did it really hit him? And when he posted the videos, like, that's what I was seeing. He wasn't really fully connecting. Was there a flying knee shot that did land at some point in the fight? Absolutely. Did he land some good shots? Absolutely. But did he do enough in that fight where he really destroyed Diego Sanchez?
Think about this too, Sean. On all judges' scorecards, it was 20-18 leading into that third and final round. He says that it was a veteran move, and I actually respect that. Here's why. Because as a referee, and Jason Herzog, we know the man, one of the best referees that are out there with Mike Beltran and a whole bunch of others. Never once will Jason go out of his way to try to skew a decision or talk to a fighter to make a judgment call. He is there to ask, are you okay? You simply are there to answer a question. Every fighter that has been inside that cage, that has felt an illegal blow, should never feel the obligation of where you have to compete still. You have to. Now, if it's in your mentality that you are going to go out there, and if a legal blow happens, you're going to go out there and you're going to perform still no matter what. You're a fighter. That's what you're expected to do, right? To feel that if you look at your boss or look at somebody else and you get this disgusted look that they're telling you basically, no, you're going to continue to fight. You should never, as a fighter, feel obligated to continue if you cannot continue, that you can continue. At the point in time, as hard as that blow was, Sean, because it split his dome. You say kind of glance from here to here, it split his wig, okay?
But here, you know what?
But the thing is, when you're looking at it, Sean, and it happens so quick, right?
Yeah.
He got blasted. Make no question about it. He got blasted. If I'm Jason Herzog, I kind of want to put a pause on that. If I'm the referee, again, we've talked about before, Sean, right? About having a medical personnel their cage side to make a call to deem that the fighter is unable to continue, right? We have made that discussion a little bit more times than not due to the fact of the eye gouges, is that to deem how bad it is. From the instant that this happened, I immediately thought, oh, he can't continue. And as a referee, to see that, a point was taken, the fight was halted, right?
Yeah.
At any point in time, a referee deems that a point has to be taken. You should immediately go over and talk to the doctor, and the doctor should be the one to deem that this fight is unable to continue. At any point in time, that a point is taken away. You should take all judgment away from the fighter, whether he can continue or not. You should take that away from the fighter. Fighters should no longer be able to say, yes, I can continue. No, I cannot. If a point is warranted. Because it is that severe that a ref has to take a point away, then it's that severe that you should go talk cage side. How about that?
And I get where you're coming from. But there are so many different aspects that, like it was just said in the chat room, is that Diego Sanchez isn't the same Diego Sanchez. His corner has no clue. I mean, you want to know how weird the corner was? His one-man corner?
How he's so out of touch?
The fact that the guy told him at the end of the first round, it's time to get sticky. What does that even mean?
It's a yoga instructor.
Get a good lather going?
Right.
Make the guy feel uncomfortable that when he touches you? I don't know. I was like, get sticky. What could this mean? Where could this analogy be going with get sticky? Like if you want to get sticky, then go be yourself. Be that wrestler that you once were at the Ultimate Fighter. Get back to what you did so well consistently at Jackson Link. But then again, it goes back to something you and I have discussed for years. And I say for at least the last 2 years, 3 years, maybe our buddy Roberto from Fightbook, we've had these discussions with him. Maybe he can refresh our memory about when we started talking about this with Diego Sanchez. Is that Diego Sanchez has been in so many wars that now it's almost seemingly as he's become either punch drunk or maybe an indication of CTE. But yet somewhere in that lining of him losing himself, he's still very well spoken, even a la a little bit weird. He's still able to convey his message very well. Like he went after Joe Rogan for being a bully in the media, among other things. So it's hard to really decipher what is the real issue going on with Diego Sanchez, except for something's not right. We've talked about it before. When is it enough where you have to step in for the health of the fighter? Because in that fight, Diego Sanchez went back 90% of the fight. Granted, he defended a lot of the strikes and did it well. He went backwards 90% of the time. If you go backwards 90% of the time in the fight, you're still going to lose the fight. Whether the other guy did a lot of damage or not, you're losing the fight because the other guy's controlling the cage. He's controlling the pressure. He's winning that style of fight. He's controlling which way you go. You move left, he goes right. You move right, he goes left. He corners you. He backs you up. Like the weird thing I said is like, oh, Diego Sanchez is really good at doing the rope-a-dope. Really? Really? Because there was no sign of him doing the rope-a-dope against the cage at all, trying to do anything whatsoever. It was the most confused I think I've ever seen any fighter in an octagon trying to instill a game plan. When you are in the cage and you're consistently putting your hand out in front to as if you're keeping your distance, like I get caught out there and you throw a jab. As if ball and you put your hand out up against the wall
To see where the wall is?
That's basically what it seemed like Diego Sanchez was doing, was putting his hand out there to see where the fighter was. Oh, the fighter's really at the end of my hand. He can't touch me. He can't. But I also need to put my hand back here and see where the cage is.
See, Sean, and with where that's going, Sean, is that do you blame Diego Sanchez, 30 years old, 38 years old, not being the type of fighter that he was, watching this fight going backwards? Do you honestly see him as a fighter that could do well in the next couple of years? Is he on his downturn?
Dude, he's been on his downturn for the last 3 years. What are you talking?
Well, because I say that because they say the smear campaign.
They say the bowling. Let's be
that he took a win from Michelle. When I look at it though, if you cheat like the Houston Astros did, do you deserve to get the W? Do you deserve to be a champion? If you cheat. Yes or no?
It depends. No, you have to define the word cheat.
I want to know first.
You have to define the word cheat.
Okay. If you use trash cans to get a signal, whether it's a curveball or a fastball, that's cheating. That gives you an advantage upon the game, correct?
Yeah, but you're not
and
defining
you
the
win.
cheating here.
Hold on. And you win a championship by doing so. By cheating. You win a championship. Do you deserve that championship?
No.
Okay.
But
so
you're not defining the cheat.
I am. I'm getting there. So when you look at what Michelle did by hitting a legal knee, automatically you should be disqualified by hitting an illegal knee on a down opponent. That is cheating. He decided at the moment, Diego Sanchez decided at the moment that he was going to take a W because he just took an illegal knee, a cheating knee that blasted him to get a W. It is your fault that you just hit an illegal knee, a cheap shot. You deserve to lose.
Yes and no. Again, the word in which you're using is cheating. It's skewed. Because in this situation,
Right?
what Michelle did not knowing do.
Did he? It was a downed opponent.
He was throwing.
Man, he could have easily finished this fight TKO, ground and pound, and he got greedy.
When you're in the middle of the moment,
Right.
and you drop your opponent with a body shot, and you're going in the same combination series.
Yeah.
And the next in your head, boom, body punch. Opponent starting to go down. You come up with a knee. That's a combination series in which
I thought he got greedy though. Like,
he probably did. He probably thought,
You could've
I probably had that one more second to throw another combination. But it's not cheating. It was just an accident that happened. So to say the word cheating, it's skewed. It doesn't make sense in this situation because it was so fast and going in the heat of the moment. My issue is, okay, I get, like, illegal knee. Diego knew he was down. Could he have competed and furthered the fight? Who knows? He felt in that moment, like you've been saying, he got blasted. Maybe to him he couldn't continue. But in this moment, Michelle did what he thought he could do. I thought the fight should have been halted, given a little bit more time, and then went to the judges and said, hey, what about this? There should have been a little bit more done in that cage rather than giving Diego Sanchez all the power. Can you continue?
see, that's what I'm saying.
Where
We
was
have to take that power away.
Like they're
Leave it to the if we're going to have medical personnel at the side.
it's not good look for the UFC right now to come off one controversial issue with John Jones
Yep.
and Dominic Reyes to come back and return and have an issue here with Diego Sanchez and that.
But we've been seeing that a
Michelle
lot
Pineda.
lately. Like,
But these are the
it's
two
not
big
even
ones.
Yes, but I mean, there's even other situations that has happened in the course of the weeks and months about judges or UFC, Invicta. You know, I mean, this is so rampant right now that we could seriously dissect it and talk about the judges and fighters. It's getting a little bit ridiculous, if you ask me, that we are putting jobs, livelihood into somebody else's hands, and then ripping it from them.
Like in the NFL, you go to replay for certain situations.
And for years, they've briefly mentioned about having replay in combat sports.
Absolutely. And
We have discussed periodically about, hey, you know, we need monitors to call a fight to see different angles, because if you can't see from the far side of the cage, you can't see. Same thing with judges. Judges are placed around the cage. One judge might not be able to see what's going on against the far side, so you go with what you can kind of see, what you can kind of get adjusted to. As much as people are against it, there are people for it, just like everything in this world.
So where I was going with this is that in this situation, when you ask Diego Sanchez if he can continue, yes or no, and he deems no, there should be some type of gray area about, let's see if this fighter can continue. That's what I think needs to happen.
And that's where I think that right then and there, point taken, ref should have gone right over to the side of the cage, get the doctor involved. Anytime a point is taken, it is a foul. You need to have somebody else inside there. You need to take that away from the fighter and put it in the doctor's hands to deem if the fighter can continue. Because that's where we need to go.
That's what the doctors are there for.
Yeah.
I think the doctors need to be utilized.
If an eye gouge is warranted a point taken, doctor, assess the fighter.
Yep, doctor, come
Do
in.
not give the fighter an option to say yes or no and take it away. You need to take away that power. You need to.
Because you don't know what's going on in those fighters' heads. They could have good intentions.
Because if this was not a blow and there was no point taken and you're looking at the scorecards and it says 20-18, then I would say, you know what, smear campaign or not, boy, you quit.
Yeah, so the way I look at it before we go into break is that, yes, I agree. More doctors need to be called in for certain situations. I don't want to take away from the fighter and give them the opportunity that maybe they have good intentions versus bad intentions. You don't know that. But by giving the doctor more free rein to come in and assess the situations and say, okay, hey, ref, I recommend X, Y, and Z is a better outcome. I think that's what we
Absolutely. When we come back, we got UFC Fight Night ESPN Plus 26. As you can see here, go to our Facebook, and you can go to click pin link and go to ESPN Plus and get a discount on your subscription. Also, don't have a couple other things because, like I said, we were going back, but check it out. I will at least, for the time being, just check out the scroll bar. Go to iloveanti.com, use promo code DuCrossBros. You can get 10% off of all your CBD and your CBD rub that you need.
love the muscle rub after you're sore.
Right?
It works great.
And getting me through the issues that we are going on personally, the CBD stuff, get me through the hard times right now. But in the meantime, we are the DuCross Brothers with Sports Warriors. UFC Fight Night ESPN Plus 26 is coming up. Wilder Fury Saturday. Oh my God, we still got more to talk about. Still got more. Incredible. But here, check this out. We are the DuCross Brothers Sports Warriors. Tristan and Sean DuCross. We break down latest cards and combat sports and the latest news. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube, on Twitter, you name it.
On Twitter, on Fight. We are officially on Fight today.
Yep.
So right after this show, go over to Fight.
And you can catch the replay of our show right there. It's going to be incredible. Go ahead. Check out the DuCross Brothers Sports Warriors. All right. We are the DuCross Brothers Sports Warriors. As you can see, our banner right behind us. Incredible show for everybody's viewing pleasure. Thank you for everybody that's tuning into us right now. Go ahead, hit that the subscribe button, smash it down, hit the bell icon, follow DuCross Brothers. We are back after a hiatus. Had to take a little bit of personal time. Had to. In the meantime, UFC Fight Night ESPN Plus 26.
We're just going to briefly touch on that and get right into the Wilder versus Fury 2 this weekend.
Yes.
Because unfortunately, when you look at UFC on ESPN Plus 26, I was like, that's cool. Like, you got the I believe they call him the Irish Dragon.
Yes.
And Paul Felder versus the Hangman and Dan Hooker.
Battle of the best nicknames.
Right? That's probably about the biggest thing going on for this main event. And then it's number 6 versus number 7. And
both guys finishers.
Dan Hooker has looked relatively really well in his most recent fights. He knocked out James Vick, basically sent him to the hospital. Poor guy. Defeated Ally Quinta via unanimous decision.
Which was a tough fight.
Although it gets a little bit tricky here because prior to those two fights, Dan struggled against Edison Barboza, took a lot of punishment in that fight. And you look at Paul Felder, who took Edison Barboza
to the distance
and win a split decision, and took a lot of punishment, dished out a lot of punishment. So we have a chance to see a great fight in the main event, which will get a lot of people talking, Tristan. But at the same time, it's like when you look at these two fighters, can Dan withstand Paul's punishment and the continuously coming forward?
And with what I'm looking at this, Sean, it's one of these two fighters are going to jump into the top 5, okay?
Yeah.
One of these two fighters after this. What I look at Paul Felder is that he has a 5-inch disadvantage against Dan Hooker. And I'm looking at Dan Hooker and I'm like, okay, bro, with the 5-inch reach, I'm keeping it at a distance, but I'm looking for Paul Felder to be able to get inside the phone booth and not feel afraid of that power by Dan Hooker and be able to get inside that phone booth, hit and stick where he can and get out and be able to do what he needs to do. But this is not going to the ground. It's not going to the ground because Dan Hooker will stop you about 80% of the time. So it's going to come down to whether or not Dan Hooker is able to keep the distance, whether Paul Felder is actually capable of getting inside the phone booth. That's really the only option that this has. But then I'm looking at the two other fights that, if you break it down, the co-main event is Jimmy Crute versus Michel. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name because I will probably butcher it, so I am sorry. But his name is like Ola Kuisajuk. It's like JJ, his last name, but with an O in the front, somewhere along the medium. Is both of them are coming off losses. Both of them are co-main event. And I'm thinking, like, why would you put them at co-main event? I mean, you got Carolina Kowalkiewicz and Yin Zhang as the follow-up, because I would probably put those two, the women's, in the co-main event, because Carolina needs to stop her losing streak. She's 0-3. She can't let this go straight down the pipe and lose 4 in a row. But yet, you look at who she's facing, it's another tough opponent that is trying to make a name for herself in Yin. And I'm thinking, like, Carolina, you have one option. Go for broke, because Yin is going to be max output. She's going to go in there, guns blazing. Yin's going to have to make sure that this fight is slowed down and fought at her pace in order for a victory here. That is the only way Carolina gets through this fight. Because on paper, she stands no chance unless she completely slows down this fight.
So that's interesting. You actually seem like you like this card. Where my interest is like, yeah, I'll just watch the main event.
Hey.
So I got Felder walking away with probably, I'm going to say, a 3rd round TKO. Our boys over at Fightbook has Felder by submission in the 4th round. Who do you got?
This ain't going to the ground. Sorry. Fightbook, I'm sorry. They're not going to the ground.
Somebody get knocked out and put to sleep.
Yeah, somebody's going to sleep. I'm going to call a 1st round KO Paul Felder. He's going to get inside that booth, much like Ryan Garcia, which we'll get to. He's going to slip a nasty left hook. And it's going to be night-night. That's all she wrote. But the talk of the town at Combat Sports World.
Hey, as long as you guys are watching us right now,
yeah,
you like a topic or whatever, give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yep. Thumbs up.
If you hate the topic, then just give us a thumbs down.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's what the like and the dislike buttons are there for.
Absolutely.
Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't like.
Yep. And go ahead, hit that subscribe button or the bell icon and show your support for the New Cross Brothers as we continue to grow and move along in this combat sports world. In the meantime, Wilder and Fury, there's been so many different topics, avenues that this has gone in the course of the weeks from...
They're selling it.
100%.
They're selling it. I can't wait to watch that fight on Saturday night.
Is it just me, or is it kind of weird that Tyson Fury says that he's going to knock out Wilder in the 2nd round?
Yeah, that's what we talked about now almost a month ago was the fact that Tyson Fury believes he's going to knock out Wilder in the second round. And yet Deontay Wilder has that God-given right hand, as you call the Thor hammer, that is called the Bronze Bomb. So you look at it and you see that it's basically two tales of polar opposites. Tyson Fury, the tactician. You got Deontay Wilder, the more aggressive, and I'm just going to throw my hands, and if it connects, you're going night-night. These two guys don't really like each other. How much I believe that? I don't. Because I think they just know how to hype it up.
And I think they have that mutual respect for one another.
And I think at the end of this fight, whether who wins or loses, you're going to see them hug it out in the center of the ring. And you're going to notice that this was just business. And it wasn't one guy hating the other guy. It was the other guy just, let's see how I can rattle the cage. What can I do to promote the fight? This is a good fight.
And those that are just tuning in to us about what is Wilder and Fury 2. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, first fight ended in a draw. And many people, up until the 2 knockdowns by Wilder, on paper, you could say that Tyson Fury was outboxing, outclassing Deontay Wilder. But again, much like the Luis Ortiz fight, if you leave Deontay Wilder in that fight, he will find a way to knock you out. And I say that because that's exactly what happened with Luis Ortiz's fight. Up until the knockout of Luis Ortiz, he was losing on every single scorecard all the way up until that knockout. That Thor hammer of his is very much capable of ending a fight at any given time. He almost did it in the first fight against Tyson Fury. Wilder's 2 knockdowns pivoted the judges into skewing it to the point where it was a complete split and it was a draw, and that's why we're here at Wilder 2. Now let's talk that if this fight kind of goes the way that many people think it will. 3.
Because you have to. You have to run it back for, if it's a rubber match, you have to run it back.
100%.
You have to run it back. And this fight is going to be interesting when it comes down to weigh-ins on Friday. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going to transpire going on for the fight.
Weigh-ins, to me, is more interesting than anything because there's talks and rumblings out of Tyson Fury's camp that they want him at 270 pounds coming into this fight.
Isn't that like the biggest he's ever been?
He usually fights between 254 and 264 with Lord. So you're adding an extra possibly 10 pounds more? I don't know. When he was away on his drug addiction and all the other stuff that was coming along him, he was upwards of 300 pounds.
Who? You're talking about
Tyson Fury, yeah. When he was mentally not right. Do you really think going 270 benefits him? Carrying that extra weight? Possibly, maybe, looking a little bit out of shape, looking a little weary? I don't necessarily think that's good.
I guess
he already struggled against Otto Wallin. And he almost lost that fight. Let's be honest, guys. He was losing for a little while, and that nasty cut.
I remember watching that fight. I think it was on ESPN.
Yeah.
And that was a rough fight for Tyson Fury to come back to. Like, Wallin was not a guy that many people thought was going to come in and give him a fight and give him a true test. But he took him the distance and made Tyson Fury look very vulnerable.
And that's the
like
thing.
Coming into this fight, making him look like the guy that got knocked down and resurrected against Fury was just a shell of himself after that fight.
Right. You say that Otto only took him to the distance. What was interesting about that fight is because up until that point, he KO'd a guy and fought Wallin. Wallin was supposed to be this pushover, was supposed to be this guy that nothing against Wallin because he was a champion, but being able to go in there and stand and actually at one point think that he could possibly finish Tyson Fury makes me wonder what this fight's going to be like, because Wilder's foes, he's knocked out both of them viciously, laid them out. And even with the Luis Ortiz fight, Sean, where he was losing on all scorecards, in dramatic fashion was able to put him down when he needed to. That's scary. My issue coming into this is that Tyson Fury boxed last time and it cost him.
But it did it. Because up until that knockdown, I had Tyson Fury winning that fight easily.
So did I. But if you go in there and box Deontay Wilder for some reason against boxers, Sean, he is able at some point to be able to put two punches together, and that's whether it's a straight jab that's going to pocket and then come over the top. There's something about boxers that Deontay Wilder at some point is able to get through that guard and is able to crack them and drop them.
Because he's got that right hand that can come out of nowhere and punch your head clean off.
So my thinking is, I don't see Tyson Fury coming in this fight looking to the sweet science of boxing to strategically outbox Deontay Wilder. I think this fight goes exactly as many people thought. This ain't going the distance. We ain't going to the judges' scorecards. Tyson Fury is going to go in there much like Deontay Wilder. This ain't going to be a boxing match. They want to leave no doubt. They want to leave it only in their hands. So somebody's getting knocked out.
Just because I want to play devil's advocate. Just because I'm the king of bold predictions. I'm bringing it back for this show.
Perfect.
Tyson Fury. I'm going with his prediction just because I want to be that guy.
You're going to say knockout second round?
Yeah,
Tyson Fury?
Even though I'm thinking it's probably going to be about the 5th round, 7th round.
I was just going to say that. I'm going Tyson Fury, 7th round. And in 30 days after this fight, we'll get our rematch, trilogy number 3.
And then it's going to be somewhere epic.
Yes.
Somewhere epic. That's where that's going to be. But we are going to go on a break. We'll come right back out with the last remaining topics. Ryan Garcia does the unthinkable. And then we also got... We are the DeCross Brothers, the Sports Warriors. We're here on YouTube. We're on Fight.tv Wednesdays at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you check us out. Also, like us, subscribe us right here on YouTube to stay up with us.
All right, everybody. We have brothers, Tristan Ducross, Sean Ducross. In the meantime, Sean, Ryan Garcia, 21 years old.
Knocked out Francisco Fonseca.
And he said he got that left hook from Sugar Ray Leonard while he was watching old tape.
And the interesting thing
I like a guy at 21 years old looking at footage from old fighters and taking a little bit of history with him.
Because Ryan Garcia is the next it guy. He's got the look. He's got the film, the style. He's got everything you're looking for in a next perennial superstar.
He can talk. He can sell. He can pack a card.
And the fact is that he's only 21. He's going to grow into his own skin. He's only going to get better. The fact that he's 20-0, 17 knockouts. But here's a little food for thought, okay? While Ryan Garcia is the it guy in this moment, if you could go on YouTube and you can find the clash between Devin Haney and that of Ryan Garcia. I've talked about this with one of my buddies. Who do I want to see Ryan Garcia fight? It's only one guy.
Only one person that matters.
Devin Haney. And I was asked, well, why?
Multiple.
Because the records in that of the amateur ranks,
man, I won't even
are synonymous with each other. They have fought each other
multiple times.
Where Devin Haney has won. So that's why I would love to see these two guys fight. Yeah, you know what? The Gervonta Davis, the Teofimo Lopez's are interesting. Absolutely. But let's look at the future. Let's look at the bright side. Devin Haney loves to promote himself. Compared oftenly to that of Floyd Mayweather. You've got a young buck that is being compared to that of a golden boy in Oscar De La Hoya. What more fitting would it be to see that of Garcia versus Haney? The new golden boy versus the new Mayweather.
And the possibility of these two clashing and then blowing the roof off of, say, a Madison Square Garden.
Right?
It is so intriguing because I look at the social media of both. And I look at the social media for why? Because that's their generation. Ryan Garcia, 5 million followers on Instagram. Devin Haney is right there, right behind him. And, I mean, if you look on our social media, we have a couple posts about Ryan Garcia on our social media on the.sports.warriors if you want to go ahead and follow us on Instagram.
Because freaking
UFC shut us down.
Decided to kill us.
So they know who we are. But, yeah, so Devin Haney, I had the luxury of covering that guy, and I remember going.
I remember that you came home to me and was like, dude, you
the
gotta
guy
watch
that you
Devin Haney.
Yes,
Like,
you remember?
who?
You remember? My 9-to-5 job, I drove right to the venue. First time ever hearing Devin Haney, not knowing who this kid was, got a privilege to talk to him, meet him, and then I immediately saw his fight, and I came home that night. Wrote up a piece on Devin Haney and looked at Sean and said, he's the next Floyd. Fast forward now, 3 years later, look at him now. Devin Haney has this kind of mantra that he knows what he is and he knows where he is going. I love the thing right now is that Garcia and Haney are in the same promotion, underneath the same umbrella, so this fight could happen at any point in time.
Absolutely. That fight stands a better chance than him calling out Gervonta Davis.
Or Jorge Linares.
No, Jorge Linares is going to happen.
Yeah.
Jorge Linares, that fight is expected to be announced for July.
And it's going to be at the Staples Center.
So, but he called out Gervonta Davis. It said for him to do it in December.
And Gervonta Davis said, boy, you better keep my name out of your mouth because you do not understand what these hands are capable of doing.
But
and
the
I'm like,
thing, though, about Gervonta Davis is he's on a different broadcast.
yes, that's the only...
So trying to bring those two together is going to be really hard to bring together to make it work.
That's the one thing I don't like about these brands. You have the Zone and Matchroom, right? You have Top Rank. You have PBC. And all these organizations have great fighters, have great possibility matchups. And in the lightweight division, we're trying to bring boxing back to the forefront.
If you've got guys that want to fight,
make it happen.
And
Put
Ryan
the egos aside, put the money aside, and make these fights happen.
But the way that it's looking right now is that in July you got Jose Linares, that he'll compete against Ryan Garcia in perhaps the biggest test of Ryan Garcia's career. 47-5, 29 knockouts. The guy's a technical striker with power in both hands, and
he just came off a KO.
And I make that that point abundantly clear in both hands because Ryan Garcia only has power in his left hand.
Much like me, I can only go right. Much like Ryan Garcia, his one fatal flaw is that he goes left.
In this fight, it could be a telling story of the maturity level of Ryan Garcia and where he's at as a fighter. In this fight, to beat Jorge, he's going to have to develop a right hand or at least a jab that he's able to keep Jorge at bay in order for him to let loose on his left hand. Much like the Bronze Bomber having the God-given ability to land the Thor hammer with his right hand, we saw how vicious that left hook can be.
Right, and the thing with Jorge, too, is that he has a lot better defense than Fonseca. I thought this fight was going to go a little bit longer than the first round, but I did see it ending in probably like the fourth or fifth round. I don't see Jorge getting KO'd like that and getting that bad of a fashion.
Like, if you want to talk about the lightweight division, the 135 division, and I say this division, like, throw out the broadcast, everything else, Lomachenko, you got Nino Lopez, yes,
Luke Campbell's still there.
it's a murderer's row right now that you could bring boxing back to the limelight and you've got fight after fight after fight that's like, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I wouldn't mind going and watch this fight.
If you want to start seeing quality fights, like the old school of Marvin Hagler versus Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard type fights, it's literally right there, right in front of you.
And with the broadcast deals, come together and make some type of revenue sharing.
Yes, because it's going to be insane about the possibilities that can come together, and these fighters can be able to just unload money-wise, back up the Brinks truck. It's scary. It really is scary. Haney says Garcia is an easier fight to make. I 100% agree with that. At 21, these 20-year-olds, they have their whole life ahead of them. But right now, the money that they can make, Sean, the money that they can make right now, I mean, you can only fathom at one point. So, I honestly believe right now that's a fight that we need to see. But on the wrap up,
the fight that I don't think anybody wants to see is like, really? Like, why is Tito Ortiz, why can't he just fade? Why can't he just go and hide? And I say that because this guy's back in the news because he's training at the WWE PC.
like Cain Velasquez did.
Performance Center.
Yeah, like Cain did.
Because he wants to have a couple wrestling appearances. What does that mean? Can his body even handle it for a guy that had neck fusion? Like, this makes no logical sense
Sean,
to me.
when you fight
how he can even compete in a ring anymore.
When you fight Alberto Del Rio and you win the way that he did, yeah, why not? He had a small stint in TNA Impact Wrestling. He has always liked the opportunity of the possibility of joining WWE.
But he's never wrestled. In Impact Wrestling, he appeared 3 times as a special guest referee.
Yeah.
He returned to Impact in 2013 and a stare down against Aces and Eights in the main event Mafia where he turned and hit Rampage with a chair. So, he's never been inside of a wrestling ring.
No.
What makes it so sure that he can take a bump? Difference. Wrestler.
I'm just saying,
being
Sean,
competing in a WWE ring.
look, if you could put Tito Ortiz against a Brock Lesnar or a Tito Ortiz against a Cain Velasquez, that's a very strong possibility about the end game for Tito Ortiz than anything. And to go out there and be able to make the money, you saw Ronda Rousey do it.
So what, are we going to see Tito Ortiz versus a Cain Velasquez or Brock Lesnar at a WrestleMania?
It's possible. It's very possible.
That's the only thing I can see. And then you make it kind of like an MMA-esque match.
Yeah.
And you work holds and stuff like that. Maybe. But then also, too, is like, did you watch the Ronda? So Ronda Rousey, back in the headlines, not saying this time that she's not going to ever fight again. No, she signs with Facebook Gaming, a.k.a. the new Twitch.
And the new YouTube-esque gaming station, so
I watched that. I watched the Facebook Gaming last night with Ronda Rousey. It was the weirdest thing I think I've ever seen. Ronda Rousey sitting in bed with a onesie with some guy named Kyle wearing a green onesie while she's playing Pokemon.
yes, because she loves Pokemon.
Like, what?
It's always been
And
her
then
thing
chopping
about
each other.
yes.
She chopped him. He chopped her. Like, it was weird. Where was Travis Hopper Brown in this situation?
But it's on every Monday morning. She'll be live streaming on Facebook Gaming.
According to last night, it wasn't even deemed what her official day is going to be because she was on last night. It was the first show, and she talked about
Yeah.
could be on a Monday, could be on a Wednesday.
From
Don't know yet.
from the schedule, from what I saw, it's every Monday morning. Every Monday morning, you can wake up and
Watch her play Pokemon.
right. And I don't know. I mean,
Watch her play
YouTube,
Pokemon.
right? YouTube, Facebook Gaming, Twitch. It's weird. We've been at this for a while, and I'm still trying to get used to this whole entire platform and how to move it and how to sell it. So that's about it. So please, every Monday, if you have nothing better to do, by all means, go to Facebook Gaming and look up Ronda Rousey, and you can watch her. Another streaming service that I guess is coming up is Drake with Caffeine.
Caffeine's been out for a minute.
Right, and there's a lucrative deal too with Drake now for Drake streaming. So I guess video game streaming is
Because
what's
Caffeine
poppin'.
also does with the game.
Yeah,
And that's how Caffeine got big was because of the game.
he plays Fortnite.
Who?
Drake.
Oh, and the game plays NBA.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird.
Guess when you got
I don't
free
know.
time.
Maybe I'm not a huge gamer and into that thing anymore, but it's weird to see 40-year-olds playing Pokemon or Fortnite. I'm not about that. Not. But we're the new Cross Brothers to Sports Warriors. Thank you for breaking us in and bringing us back. We've been gone for a half an hour. For what seemed to be months due to our family stuff. Those that know, just make sure that we are going to be dedicating what we do here to our mom. So with that, we are out of here. We are the New Cross Brothers every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and dealing with our ups and downs on this show, because it is our first show back after several months. Thank you guys. Hit that subscribe button, that bell icon, smash the like button or the dislike button. These shows that you care enough that you were watching and you're tuning